Who knows? You might like it so much you want to come back next time.
Yeah, I know, right? Careful what you ask for.
Good evening and welcome to the October 17th regular Findlay City Council meeting. Regular session. We will start this evening's meeting with roll call followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Mr. Baumann?
Here.
Ms. Frischi?
Here.
Mr. Greeno?
Present.
Mr. Hellman?
Here.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Here.
Mr. Palmer?
Present.
Mr. Russell?
Here.
Mr. Slough? Ms. Warnicki?
Here.
And Mr. Wobser.
Mr. Wobser gave me previous to let me know that he wasn't going to be this evening, and Mr. Slough he was in the parking lot and had to go home for personal reasons. Mr. Hellman.
I was just going to mention that as Mr. Slough was pulling in tonight, he got a phone call that says that he will not be able to be here because of an emergency he has to attend to. So I covered it well. I'd move that he be excused. and Mr. Whoopser.
There you go. Second, Mr. Palmer. Discussion.
He doesn't have an excuse.
Hearing none, all those in favor of excusing both Mr. Palmer, Mr. Slough and Mr. Wobser, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? They are excused. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will accept a motion to accept the previous public hearing and city council minutes. Mr. Baumann.
In Mr. Slough's absence, I will move that those are accepted.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Palmer. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the previous public hearing minutes and city council minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? They are accepted. Mr. Russell, do we have any add-ons, replacements, or removals from tonight's agenda?
Yes, we do. We have a replacement letter from Service Safety Director Martin concerning Ordinance 2023-097. We have a replacement for Ordinance 2023-097 as amended with changes to a couple of sections. And also removal of a letter or an email from Assistant Law Director Feiner concerning Findlay Council meeting coverage on October 17th. And I would move that the two be revised and the one be removed.
Second, Mr. Palmer. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the add-ons, replacements, or removals from tonight's agenda, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Those are adopted. Mayor, we do have a proclamation this evening.
We do. We have a proclamation today recognizing October 2023 as Disability Employment Awareness Month. Whereas October 2023 marks the 78th anniversary of National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And whereas the purpose of National Disability Employment Awareness Month is to educate about disability employment issues and celebrate the many and varied contributions of American workers with disabilities. And whereas the history of National Disability Employment Awareness Month traces back to 1945 when Congress enacted a law declaring the first week in October each year National Employ the Physically Handicapped Week. In 1962, the word physically was removed to acknowledge the employment needs and contributions of individuals with all types of abilities. In 1988, Congress expanded the week to a month and changed the name to National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And whereas workplaces welcoming of the talents of all people, including people with disabilities, are a critical part of our efforts to build an inclusive community and strong economy. And whereas activities during this month will reinforce the value and talent people with disabilities add to our workplaces and community and affirm Findlay, Ohio's commitment to an inclusive community that increases access and opportunities to all, including individuals with disabilities. Now, therefore, I, Christina M. Mern, Mayor of the City of Findlay, Ohio, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as Disability Employment Awareness Month in Findlay, Ohio, and hereby recognize and commemorate the 78th anniversary of National Disability Employment Awareness Month and call upon all employers, school, and other community organizations in Findlay, Ohio to observe October with appropriate programs and activities, and to advance its important message that people with disabilities add value and talent to our workplaces and communities, and encourage employers to take steps throughout the year to recruit, hire, retain, and advance individuals with disabilities, and work to pursue the goals of opportunity, full participation, economic self-sufficiency, and independent living for people with disabilities. This evening, we have Tucker, who will be receiving the proclamation on behalf of the Disability Employment Awareness Month with Blanchard Valley. If you could, please come forward, Tucker.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. And thank you, Nikki, for all the work that you do to help our community and make sure people that have great opportunities with all abilities. So thank you for
We appreciate your support in creating a diverse workplace in Findlay and surrounding communities, so we appreciate that.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tucker. Before you leave, are there any questions or comments from council? Okay, hearing none. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
We have no recognition of retirement resolutions, no petitions, no oral communications, and no written communications. We will now move on to reports of municipal officers and departments.
Findlay Fire Department Activities Report for September 2023.
Questions or comments? Report to be filed.
City Income Tax Monthly Collections Report for September 2023.
Questions or comments? Mr. Stashek.
Good evening, everyone. As you can see, it's wonderful that our income tax is up significantly. I want to particularly point out the business net profits tax line there up, projected beyond the budget, almost $4 million. And I bring this up now because I want to make sure you are aware you will be seeing some legislation come from myself that will request an appropriation adjusting the income tax so that we can get that money over to the general fund when it comes in and follow the proper appropriation and government procedures for doing that. I'll send it to you as soon as I can. I want to get it as close as I can so that I don't have to adjust it twice this year, because these business receipts came in late enough in the year that I don't think I need to do it twice if you guys will indulge me, and I may need you to pass it after 1 or 2 readings, but I'll let you know way ahead of time so that you know what's going on. So thank you.
Other questions or comments? Report to be filed.
Precipitation and Reservoir Levels Report for third quarter 2023.
Questions or comments? Report to be filed.
City Planning Commission minutes of September 14th, 2023, as well as the agenda of October 12th, 2023, and their staff report of October 12th, 2023.
Questions or comments? All 3 of those will be filed.
Findlay Police Departmental Activities Report for September 2023.
Questions or comments? Report to be filed.
Financial summary year-to-date information as of September 30th, 2023.
Questions or comments? Report to be filed.
Findlay Municipal Court Activities Report for September 2023.
Questions or comments? Report to be filed.
Letter from Service Safety Director Martin regarding 2024 salary ordinance amendments.
Questions or comments? Ms. Frishy?
I was just looking for understanding of the removing of the 90 days, the changes to it.
Is that directed at somebody specifically?
Well, I guess the letter was written to Rob, so
Okay.
I guess, Rob, my
Thank you.
question is to you.
Mr. Martin?
So, in regards to that edit, we're going back to the previous language. This is a process every year that we go through. We have the 140 hours that is the ceiling of comp, and a lot of our departments benefit and utilize that comp time instead of taking overtime, in particular the street department. So during certain times of year when they work excess hours to maintain our roads, they will exceed that 140 hours worth of comp time cap. So they'd like to extend that so when their schedule is more regulated, that they can actually use that comp time throughout that calendar year when it makes more sense without taking the overtime payment. And actually, it's a cost savings to the city. That's the way I prefer it, is the way it was written in the past. That was changed, and I wanted to get it back the way it was because it makes sense operationally.
Other questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from Mayor Mern regarding ordinance 2023-114 income tax code updates.
Questions or comments? Mr. Stashak?
Two things. Well, I guess one thing. This should be referred to the Income Tax Board as a formality. They should make a recommendation per your ordinances. As a member of that board, I think that would be appropriate.
Ms. Mayor?
We already did that. The committee received a letter and reviewed it and discussed it and approved it.
Mr. Stashak?
I am aware of what we did. However, after that, there was the law director, his staff, I believe the mayor, but I don't know for sure. Others worked on it. It's clear in your ordinances, the Income Tax Board has the authority over recommending rules and changes regardless of whether they're initiated by the state or not. It's a procedural matter, but also appropriate that the final set be reviewed and go through the Income Tax Board, even though it's a formality.
I'm going to refer this to council. I'm going to ask you whether or not you feel that this needs to go to the tax board, and if not, I'm going to have these two people work that out. Ms. Frishy?
So there's going to be new policy or new codes written?
Ms.
Okay.
Mayor?
So these are all state changes that we have to adopt. We were made aware of them following the adoption of the state budget. Therefore, we then, golly, was it August or September, a couple months ago, Mary provided a letter outlining all of the changes and how they would high level impact the city of Findlay to the Income Tax Board. The Income Tax Board said, thank you, we understand, proceed. I believe what the auditor is stating is that they specifically need to review the ordinance. However, the ordinance is strictly based off of the state code items. So I believe that if there's any specific issues, they should just be brought up here as the legislation goes through the process. But the Income Tax Board reviewed they didn't receive the specific legislation, but the legislation is simply adopting the state code changes which were discussed at Income Tax Board.
Other questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from Service Safety Director Martin regarding Recreation Department All-Star Park.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Kalb regarding battery backup machine resolution to transfer funds.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Kalb regarding Findlay Airport Terminals Program ATP grant opportunity.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
I don't know, did I miss it?
That was the replacement of the letter that we already discussed.
Okay, so I don't have to add that.
The letter with the replacement of the one that was in. Yes.
Okay. Committee reports.
The Strategic Planning Committee met on October 3rd, 2023 to continue discussions on the strategic planning process. We recommend that Council's Rules Committee establish guidelines for how public requests are given to or assigned to a specific committee.
Ms. Warnicki.
Recommend approval of the committee report.
Second, Mr. Hellman. Discussion. Ms. Mayor?
I just think it's worth noting, Councilwoman Warnicki, I believe the copy in the packet, you just did not have an opportunity to sign, but you were present at the meeting, so I just wanted to note that. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
All those in favor of the committee report say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The committee report is adopted.
The Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request from Philip P. Lawson on behalf of Strauss.
I'm sorry, did we have a second after the motion?
Hellman.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
On behalf of Strauss 3 Ltd. to rezone 1600 Melrose Avenue from C2 General Commercial to M2 Multifamily High Density. We recommend to approve as requested.
Mr. Hellman.
Move to accept the committee report.
Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the committee report say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The committee report is adopted.
The Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request from Paul and Brenda Miller to vacate the east-west alley between East Yates Street and Coventry Drive, bounded by lots 26 to 34 in the Old Orchard 4th Edition and 4006 to 4020 in Chamberlain Hill Edition. We recommend denial of the request.
Mr. Baumann.
Move to accept the report.
Second, Mr. Palmer. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the acceptance of the committee report say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The committee report is adopted.
The Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request from Dan Stone, Van Horn, Hoover and Associates Incorporated on behalf of Nipper Industrial Holdings LLC to rezone 1700 Fostoria Avenue from C2 Commercial to I1 Light Industrial. This request was tabled during the September 14th, 2023 Planning and Zoning Committee. We recommend to rezone as requested.
Mr. Palmer.
Move for acceptance of the committee report.
Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion? Ms. Frischi.
I just wanted to note, I was a nay on that. That is my ward, and this is the old RCA Harris property. And there's just a lot of residential around that area, and there's been concerns with truck traffic, and that's why I could not support that rezone. Thanks.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of the committee report say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The committee report is adopted. Legislation.
Third reading for Resolution 23, 2023, a resolution transferring funds within appropriated funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Russell.
Move for adoption of resolution 023-2023.
Second, Mr. Hellman. Discussion? Ms. Frischi.
So this ordinance has to, or resolution, I'm sorry, has to do with moving money from Safety Service Director to the Law Director's budget with regards to the mayor spending money for legal services without council's approval to extend water to Arlington and Macomb. And so we denied that item without a PO and had it tabled. So it looks like this is a get around council and the public type transfer of funds, which is inappropriate. And I would also like to get an update on what was the original amount of that bill and what is the bill currently, Mayor?
Ms. Mayor.
Well, first, I would like to specify that this is not a get-around bill. Our legislation is specifically requested by the auditor's office that because it is a legal service, that the law director's office line item pay for this. So since the service safety director's budget had funding available for it, that is why we initiated the transfer rather than appropriating new general fund dollars. Additionally, we will still be coming back to council to review and accept the PO. I've been working with the auditor over the last couple of weeks to make sure that he had all of the information that he had been requesting related to being able to pay that PO, which is why it was previously removed. The original PO amount was about $17,000, I believe. I had not received that. Okay, $19,000. I had not seen it before it was submitted to council. I was able to work with the law firm to address a couple of items that once I reviewed it, I felt like we didn't need to necessarily pay for. They were conversations that had happened related to work with us, but not at our request. They were items with internal conflict of interest at the law firm, and so they have changed those to a no charge. I believe the total dollar amount is now, golly, Jim, do you remember? It's $4,000 less. Okay, $14,000. I was going to say I thought it was around $15,000. So we have been able to decrease that slightly, but that will be coming back to you all here in the next couple of weeks.
Ms. Frischi.
How much have we spent? I don't know if anybody knows this since our law director's not here. How much have we spent in the law director's budget for outside legal this year that we didn't have $20,000 in the law budget?
Ms. Mayor.
I don't know the specific dollar amount, but as you guys recall, bringing in special counsel who has expert knowledge on things like water surplus sales is appropriate. Our law director is not an expert in all things. In this case, we were able to consult an attorney that is not only an engineer, but also a lawyer, which is very beneficial when helping structure documents. They understand both the legalese as well as the technical aspect. And so I don't think it would really matter how much we needed to spend on something. We're going to want to consult experts. And so whether we had the money in the funds or not is not pertinent to this conversation, in my opinion.
Ms. Frishy?
So it is pertinent if we're spending money without council's recommendation, and I guess I'm a little shocked that we had a $19,000 bill presented to council that was not reviewed by you, Mayor, and now we miraculously decreased it by almost $5,000. It leads me to concern of, is this bill appropriate at all?
Go ahead, Mayor.
Well, yes, it is entirely appropriate, and I have no concerns for it. And I know there's a lot of inappropriate comments, in my opinion, that have been circulated in that manner. Yes, we have utilized Bricker Graydon for many years on various aspects. I know we consult them on lots of topics over the years. And being able to tap into them as a resource, again, for these experts is totally within the purview of the administration. Yes, I'm disappointed that a bill, an invoice, was submitted inappropriately to council without my review. That process is being reviewed to make sure that doesn't occur in the future. But it went to the law director's office. It was submitted to council. It should have been vouchered appropriately. That didn't occur. That's neither here nor there. I think the topic is that the administration has the purview to consult attorneys and bring in legal counsel through professional services as is appropriate, and that's what we did here.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the resolution say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Nay.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
And Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
The resolution is adopted.
Second reading for Resolution 24, 2023. A resolution stating what services the City of Findlay, Ohio will provide to the territory proposed to be annexed to the City of Findlay, Ohio, situated in Allen Township, County of Hancock, State of Ohio, and being a part of the southwest quarter of Section 32, Township 2 North, Range 11 East, a tract of land consisting of 77.808 acres of land, more or less, hereinafter referred to as the County Road 23212, Hat Trick, also known as Sheets Annexation. And just a note, I had placed on the agenda that this next resolution requires 3 readings, but it only requires 1. So I will make that change in the minutes. First reading for Resolution 25, 2023. A resolution approving the expenditures made by the Auditor's Office on the attached list of vouchers which either exceed the purchase order or were incurred without a purchase order, exceeding the statutory limit of $3,000, all in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 5705.41D.
Mr. Russell?
Move for adoption of Resolution 025-2023.
Second, Mr. Palmer. Discussion? Ms. Frishy?
So we had some legal fees on here for Spenger, Nathanson. I know we had gotten a letter and on our council table at the last meeting. Can you put some notation to that for the record?
And again, who is that
Well, since we
directed
don't
at?
have our regular law director, I'd ask our acting one, but I don't know that he would have those answers. So who would ever like to answer that?
Ms. Mayor?
Well, I'm sure Marshall could give context on this, but I think what you're looking for is just a status update on the case, or what are you looking for, Councilwoman?
I'm just looking for what the bill is for. I know it says George Martin litigation, wondering where we're at with things. We've been in lots of law cases regarding him costing the city hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I always like to have it notated of what this bill was for.
Yep, well, as was distributed to you via email as well as at the last council meeting, this case has been ongoing. Our legal representation has been able to get a number of the issues resolved. Mr. Martins tried to appeal to the Supreme Court of Ohio. That has been declined at this point in time. Our the legal services are currently just waiting to see if Mr. Martins files anything further within the time frame. If not, they've been requesting that a number of issues be dismissed with no further action. And really beyond what was provided to you previously is the update at this point in time.
Other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
And Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
The resolution is adopted.
First reading for Resolution 26, 2023, a resolution transferring funds within appropriated funds and declaring an emergency. First reading for Resolution 27, 2023, a resolution transferring funds within appropriated funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Russell.
This is a routine matter, moving funds from one account to another that is more appropriate per the email from City Engineer Kalb. Therefore, I make a motion that council's statutory rules be suspended and Resolution 027-2023 be given its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Greeno. All those in favor of suspension of the rules say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Sorry, I lost my place for a second. Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
And Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
The rules of council have been suspended, and the clerk will give this resolution its second and third reading.
Resolution 27, 2023. Resolution 27, 2023.
Mr. Palmer.
Move for adoption of resolution number 27-2023.
Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
And Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
The resolution is adopted. Ordinances.
Third reading for ordinance 2023-97 as amended. An ordinance establishing job classifications, pay ranges, salary schedules, and other matters that may affect pay for all non-elected officers and employees of the City of Findlay, Ohio, and repealing ordinance number 2022-81, ordinance 2022-12, ordinance 2023-36, and all other ordinances and/or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Greeno.
Move for adoption of ordinance number 2023-097.
Second, Mr. Hellman. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the ordinance say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Point of clarification, is this?
As amended.
As amended?
Yep,
Okay.
that was noted, yes.
Okay. Good, thank you. Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
And Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
Second reading for ordinance 2023-99, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency. Second reading for ordinance 2023-102, an ordinance accepting and approving an application for an annexation of territory situated in the Township of Allen, County of Hancock, State of Ohio, consisting of 12 parcels totaling 57.691 acres of land, more or less, hereinafter referred to as the County Road 99 Racetrack Annexation. Second reading for ordinance 2023-103, an ordinance amending Chapter 1100 et sec of the codified ordinances of the City of Findlay, Ohio, known as the zoning code, by zoning the following described property as both I-1 light industrial and C-2 general commercial, as outlined below. Said annexation of territory situated in the Township of Allen, County of Hancock, State of Ohio, consisting of 12 parcels totaling 57.691 acres, hereinafter referred to as the County Road 99 Racetrack Annexation. Second reading for ordinance 2023-105, An ordinance amending Chapter 1100 et sec of the codified ordinances of the City of Findlay, Ohio, known as a zoning code, by rezoning the following described property referred to as 315 Walnut Street rezone, which previously was zoned R3 Small Lot Residential to C1 Local Commercial. Second reading for 2023-106. An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Findlay, Ohio to enter into a contract for calendar years 2023 through 2025 with the Hancock County Public Defender Commission and the Hancock County Commissioners for a total of $95,000 per year for said calendar years and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Baumann.
Rob, regarding 2023-016, it's my understanding that the clerk of courts upstairs typically makes these payments in both February and September, and because she is kind of rolling up on budget season, she'd kind of like to get this off her plate before next month. Can you kind of elaborate that on a little bit?
Yep. Yeah, that's correct. This contract is a 3-year contract starting in this calendar year 2023. But due to the conversations that we were working through some of the points of the contract with the county commissioners, that it just was delayed to get it right. And now we're in a position where it's right, the numbers are right. We have a reconciliation process based on what the state chooses to reimburse. So the process is in place. This is for this calendar year, so we'd like to get this one moving through so we can settle it and move forward.
Mr. Baumann.
Mr. President, in light of those facts, I would move that ordinance number 2023-016 be given its third reading.
Second, Ms. Warnicki. Second, Ms. Warnicki. All those in favor of suspension of the rules, say after your name is called. Those opposed, no.
Point of clarification.
Mr. Russell.
How about ordinance 2023-106 instead of 016?
Okay, 106, sorry.
Thank you.
As corrected.
Mr.
Suspension.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Ms. Frischie?
Nay.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
And Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
The rules of council have been suspended, and the clerk will give this ordinance its third read.
Ordinance 2023-106.
Mr. Russell.
Rules have not been suspended.
We had a motion and a second.
And
Ballman
we
and
had
Warnicki.
a 7-1 vote requires 8 to suspend.
66%. No, I'm sorry. Suspension of the rules is 75%. You're correct. I'm sorry. The rules cannot be suspended.
Oh.
Right? Never mind.
Second reading for ordinance 2023-107. An ordinance appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency. Second reading for ordinance 2023-108. An ordinance appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency. Second reading for ordinance 2023-110. An ordinance appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency. Sorry.
That's all right.
Second reading for ordinance 2023-112. An ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the City of Findlay, Ohio, to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the necessary parties, including but not limited to the Hancock County engineer and the Allen Township trustees, to assist with roadway improvements to Distribution Drive of County Road 212 and Township Road from Distribution Drive East to Township Road 230. First reading for ordinance 2023-114. An ordinance amending section 194.03, 194.062, 194.094, and 194.10, and adding section 194.0621 of chapter 194 of the codified ordinances of the City of Findlay, Ohio. First reading for ordinance 2023-115. An ordinance repealing the current zoning code, Chapter 1100 et sec of the codified ordinances of the City of Findlay, Ohio, and in its place enacting a new Chapter 1100 et sec of the codified ordinances of the City of Findlay, Ohio, to be known as the City of Findlay zoning ordinance, adopting, approving, and incorporating the current zoning map, along with the entire text of new Chapter 1100 et sec of the codified ordinances of the City of Findlay, Ohio, as if fully rewritten herein. First reading for ordinance 2023-116, an ordinance authorizing the auditor to make payroll deductions for those employees who have elected to enroll in the health savings account plan and declare an emergency.
Mr. Russell.
Seeing as though this is a routine matter to establish the HSA limits with regard to changes for 2024, I would move that council statutory rules be suspended and ordinance 2023-116 be given its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Niemeyer. All those in favor of suspension of the rules, say aye. After your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Nay.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
And Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
The motion to suspend is defeated.
First reading for ordinance 2023-117, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to apply for funding through the Federal Aviation Administration Airport Terminals Grant Program and enter into a grant agreement with the Federal Aviation Administration to upgrade the existing windows at the airport terminal to new energy efficiency windows.
Mr. Palmer.
This grant application deadline is before our next meeting. Therefore, so we can meet the deadline, I move that council's rules be suspended and this ordinance be given its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Greeno. All those in favor of suspension of the rules, say aye. After your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
And Mr. Palmer.
Aye.
Rules of council have been suspended, and the clerk will give this ordinance its second and third reading.
Ordinance 2023-117. Ordinance 2023-117.
Mr. Palmer.
Move for adoption of ordinance number 2023-117.
Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the ordinance, say aye. After your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted. Old business. Mr. Stashak.
Hey, real quick, since Mr. Wobser, your representative, isn't here, I'm going to go ahead and ask that the ordinance 2023-114 be reviewed, at least as part of proper process at the already scheduled income tax board meeting the first week.
Request noted. Other old business. Ms. Frishy.
Under the last council meeting, under old business, I brought up the question regarding water and sewer with the billing policy with regarding to the folks that had high water bills or that were over the 400% or 500%, I'm sorry. And I was told that we did not have to do that. I had followed up with an email to head of water and sewer with Randy and the mayor, asking for legislation to put the policy in place, and the mayor denied that request, saying that I was incorrect in my information, and I did not hear from Randy. But I do understand that we do need to have policy in place before the end of the year. It needs to be retroactive to the date that you did these things, and we need to be giving the mayor or Rob or whoever it might be the authority to make these changes and credit some citizens and not all that have high bills. So I did request that legislation. It did not come, and I think we have a problem that we need to make sure we get it taken care of, whether you want to refer that, Randy, to your committee, or if you want to request that legislation now, or if you need to talk with Ginger to make sure I'm explaining things correctly.
Ms. Mayor.
So, Councilwoman, you took a snippet of an email that was much more in-depth to try to make a point. However, I would like to clarify for the public's edification. I stated what was appropriate for the last year in this one-time situation has been codified in the discussion and the recommendation from the council. And then in that meeting, which Ginger, Deputy Auditor Sampson, was at, she did state that moving forward, she would like to see a change in the water policy. What I stated is, we will make those changes, but we're also looking at other water rule changes, and rather than piecemealing individual changes, I think it's more appropriate for us to look at all of it. So it's currently documented in a manner which both addresses the past and the future, so that we are currently in compliance per the meetings which the deputy auditor was in, and then we will look at changing to our water policy a go-forward process that is more defined. What I didn't want to do is just start nitpicking individual things. I'd rather have a full review and make multiple changes at once, and we've been busy with other things. So it's not that I am delaying it, but at this point in time, I don't think we're going to be able to have appropriate review of changes to the water rules in a committee and then be able to pass it without doing it too quickly. Additionally, it doesn't actually come to council. Water rules are a function of the administration, so we're able to make those changes, but we want to do so with consultation to council. So I'm not ignoring your request. We are currently in compliance, and then we're going to review, have the appropriate discussions, and then move forward.
Mr. Stashak?
I want to concur with Councilwoman Frisch's comments. I had a discussion with the deputy auditor at her instigation that she believes her comments were either taken out of context or misunderstood, which is easy to happen in the type of meeting that occurred, and with me not being there. We are both in agreement that those rules regarding the waiver of monies, particularly in the environment we're in, the waiver of monies must be passed by this council, what council has agreed to before the end of this calendar year, so that my office and this council and this city is in compliance with audit. That is something I have confirmed with her. We've discussed it twice now, and I am 100% confident in her recommendation. And let's just get it done and move forward with regard to what the rules are for waiving those fees for the general public.
Ms. Frischy?
I just want to clarify that I'm not piecemealing your email, your brief email. I am simply saying that we need to correct something. I know that you are of the process of do and ask for forgiveness later by council, and we usually do that. But there is a process of giving you the authority to do things, and when it comes to moving money, there has to be legislation. You also mentioned that there are other changes that the public is requesting in the water and sewer policy. I think that would be interesting to know what the public is wanting to change in that policy, and we need to move forward on those things. But when we are making a change or a recommendation, we don't wait until later. We have to just follow a process. So there was no piecemealing or changing your wording.
Ms. Mayor?
I will work with the deputy auditor. If there was a misunderstanding from the meeting, I'm happy to correct it. In the future, auditor, if there is an issue that your office identifies, they're welcome to reach out to me so that I can work to resolve it.
Just real quick, Ms. Frischy, I just want to, legislation from council must be requested by at least 2 council members. Requests for appropriations that require legislation for money already budgeted may be requested by the administration. Just
No, I'd
telling
like
you
to
what the rules
respond.
are. Well, you had said something that you requested legislation, and that's fine, but you have to go through the process, okay?
So I would assume that the chair of water and sewer would have responded as a member of council and addressed it with Ginger. So I understand process. I sent an email.
Okay,
So
duly
thank
noted.
you.
Any other old business? New business? Mr. Martin?
If I may ask the committee president of Water and Sewer to request a Water and Sewer Committee to discuss the water fund.
Mr. Greeno?
Yeah, we'll check our dates here. Hold on. What about 24 or the 31st? Does that work? Of October?
31st is not good for me.
Good for you. And I'll be gone. How about the 9th of November?
Yeah, I'm good.
9th of November?
Afternoon
4 o'clock?
works.
The 9th of November, 4 o'clock, does that work for the administration and the auditor? Okay. So we'll set that up in the conference room, the mayor's conference room. Water and Sewer will discuss the water fund at 4 o'clock on November the 9th.
Mr. Russell?
Just a note that our next meeting, regularly scheduled for November 7th, is an election day, and so by our council rules, we will next meet on Wednesday, November 8th.
You took away my thunder. That was my only comment. I was going to make this. Thank you. Ms. Mayor.
Just two quick items. With the legislation appropriating funds for flood mitigation, I just want to remind everybody, I know we've talked about it a couple of times over the last couple of years. I do expect that we'll need to put some additional funds towards flood mitigation. If you recall, I'd kind of talked about probably putting about $5 million total. We are continuing to work with Norfolk Southern on the bridge and their contribution. That will be a big determining factor in how much we need to appropriate. So don't be surprised if we have this conversation again early next year as we kind of refine those figures. Additionally, I just want to give a shout out to Councilman Hellman for responding to me about his ward event. Thank you for putting some thought. I think you have some good plans put together. As a reminder, to those of you who have not spoke to me yet, if you could please put some high ball numbers together. If you would like to discuss that, Jacqueline or myself can help assist in that. Again, that's just an event that we'd like to have you guys next year do kind of a block party or get out into your neighborhood. We'll host. I know we can do some snacks. We can do it here, whatever you're kind of wanting, whatever you think would work for your ward. But if you could please let us know so that we can put some funding into your budget, that would be helpful. That is all.
Other new business. Ms. Frishy?
I know Dennis you're on the committee for economic development.
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't at our water sewer appropriations meeting, but I think it might be a good thing to maybe have you start giving us updates or maybe invite economic development in so we can get on the same page and be planning our future community and looking forward. So you missed the meeting, but I know we get the monthly notes of different projects with names, but I think if we had some more information being given to council, that'd be good for future.
I'd be glad to do that. For clarification, would you like to have the executive director of the Alliance come and give a report quarterly or occasionally?
I think that'd be fantastic. If you didn't want to be the speaker, sure. Send Dan over.
Other new business.
I'll send Dan over.
Oh, sorry. Other new business. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Baumann, second, Mr. Niemeyer. All those in favor of adjournment say aye. Any opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Yeah, you're welcome anytime.